Last time I was here, you guys, I was on my way to my deathbed, so I went to the doctor yesterday before I got it cleared before I got in the plane to come here again. So I'm good to go at least till tomorrow. So the hell.
All right, folks, please join me in Thuzio presents. Whoops, sorry. Join me in welcoming to the stage the man to my left, Mr. Ric Flair. Before we get started, there's a few people in the room that I want to thank tonight for making this event happen. First and foremost, BHI. John, thank you so much for being the title sponsor tonight. Without you, this wouldn't have happened, so a round of applause for John. Also want to thank Insperity for being our welcome sponsor. Your continued support allows us to make these events happen. And also our friends Tito's. Without you guys, the man I'm about to introduce wouldn't be here tonight. So before we get started, I want to welcome back all of our members. You know, what we do is we try and bring you the biggest names in sports and the biggest sports personas. Without your support through membership, that wouldn't be able to happen, and nobody is bigger than the man up here on the stage tonight. So how about a round of applause for Rick and Adam? And I also want to welcome Chris Callahan, our friend from the Ronald McDonald House. We're going to do a silent auction tonight for items, some local sports memorabilia, and also a foursome for their golf outing. But I'm going to have Chris share a little bit more about the project that's going on here in Philadelphia. So Chris, take it away.
All right, thanks, Pat. I'm going to keep this really short and sweet because we all want to hear from Rick. But my name is Chris Callahan. I'm from the Ronald McDonald House. The proceeds from the silent auction that we're doing tonight is going to go back to our families, and we're working on this really great project in the city right now. I'm not sure if everybody knows, but the Philadelphia Ronald McDonald House is a Philadelphia story. It started here in Philadelphia in 1974, and what we do is we care for families that are coming to Philadelphia to get life-saving treatment for their children. As you can see from this screen, we actually are undergoing our largest expansion in our history, increasing our house from 45 rooms to 127, which is pretty remarkable. So basically tonight, what I would encourage everybody to do is that we have a great auction package where people can, we have some golfers in this room, I'm sure. We have this great golf event called the Audi Quattro Cup, which is part of the largest amateur golf tournament in the world, where the winning twosome will go to an all-expense-paid trip to Kiawah Island. And then from there, they will go on to an all-expense-paid trip to the Audi Quattro Cup World Final, which I think is in Dubai this year. So it's an awesome, awesome trip. Even if you don't win, I would highly recommend. I'm going to be over here, grab my card. It's not a heavy entry fee. It's $250 a person. But also with that package, we have Egg McMuffins for the year. Rick, I know you probably like some Egg McMuffins. And then we also have a Ertz signed football, a Malcolm Jenkins signed football, and a Mike Schmidt signed baseball. So I know Pat said we're going to leave that open for a while. If anybody after Rick speaks, I want to get to you. Definitely make some bids, and hopefully we can raise some money for our families. But thank you, Pat, and everybody at Thuzio.
Ertz and Malcolm Jenkins.
Ertz, Malcolm Jenkins, and a Mike Schmidt baseball. So with that, woo!
All right.
All right. My name is Adam Lefkoe. I work at Bleacher Report. I'm from Philadelphia. This is my favorite wrestler of all time. This is going to be amazing. So I got to give you a big intro, but I want everyone to do it with me. This is a 16-time world champion. This is a 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is where I need your help. This is a man who is styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. The Nature Boy. Space Mountain, Ric Flair. Shower this man with woos. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
You're the man. So everybody loves you. I think the coolest thing about you, and I've now done this with you like 2 times, is you're so generous with your time. But I'm curious, Has there been a celebrity that's seen you and gone, oh my God, it's Ric Flair, that kind of caught you off guard, that you didn't even realize how big you were?
I don't know about that. I think that the awareness, which I realized, but I didn't realize how much admiration they had for me. I've met some rap artists, some musicians in the last couple of years.
I saw like Migos and Quavo.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, they thought I was pretty cool. Maybe, I don't know.
And they got a song after you.
I left going, I got to buy some more jewelry because I can't keep up.
They showed you up a little bit?
That damn Offset, man. Jesus.
That's
He
awesome.
thought I would have some shit on. I said, Jesus Christ. Now, I said to his bodyguard, I said, let me add all this up one time. He said, he's probably got about $750,000 worth of stuff on one day. I mean, the chains and the watches, and I've had some nice stuff at the Migos.
And they call that Ric Flair drip.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
It's not.
If they only knew.
I'm getting a lot of credit for stuff I don't own.
That's awesome. Throughout this, I do have 3 clips that I'm going to play. I'm not going to get to them yet, but they're different parts of your career. I picked them out, so I hope you like them. But what I want to do first, kind of loosen it up, I have 5 names for you. I'm just going to say their name, and I kind of want to know what it was like working with them, but also partying with them. I'm going to start off with Undertaker. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned it. I just talked to him last night.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no.
Can we just say that's amazing?
No, they had SmackDown. They've had the draft this week, where the WWE moved talent between Raw and SmackDown, and Vince had a big announcement. I was watching the show. My daughter is on the SmackDown, and said they have a big announcement. So I texted him. I said, "Don't tell me. I'm going to be surprised again tonight." And he said, "Nope, I'm sitting in Austin." But he and I are going to Liverpool a week from tomorrow, so for 4 days with my wife. Yeah, it's not like it used to be, but yeah. I'm on an extended leash right now, guys. But believe me, I've got an ankle bracelet on. I still can't walk off the property without setting off an alarm. So,
but in the heyday, Undertaker.
In the heyday, well, I can't think of anybody I've had as much fun with except maybe Roddy Piper. And that's a different kind of fun. I just feel Mark. He is not only a fantastic guy. He's one of the, to me, if you're looking at the most famous people in the history of the company, Taker's got to be right there. And he stayed with them when they had all the stuff going on with WCW, where as a component, he wouldn't have been able to go as The Undertaker, but I mean, it was who he is, the stature, and he couldn't be a nicer guy. He's just a regular guy. You'd enjoy it, but boy, don't start drinking Jack Daniels with him. It's the end. Yeah, we were flying from Tokyo to London. We had a shot in Tokyo, and then we flew to London. I don't know, one of those crazy trips we were together, and on the way back from London, we had it out, and I woke up in Chicago, and now, listen to me. Listen, in coach, which I was flying first class, I woke up, and the guy was tapping me on the shoulder, going, "Hey, we're cleaning the plane," and I was laying like this. He had folded my arms over me and left. I also lost a Rolex in Baltimore with him, which is another story.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but anyway, great guy.
All right, second name for you. It's in Chicago. It's perfect. What is Vince McMahon like?
The best.
Really?
Yeah, a tough, incredibly tough, shrewd, honest to the point where it hurts your feelings, but he doesn't bullshit around, and he's a brilliant guy. If you look at what every other sport is doing now in terms of sensationalizing their business, their entrances, the Super Bowl, the music, we've been doing that for years. the packages they build on the individual players and the teams, and we've been doing that stuff for years. He has, and everybody's taken something from WWE, which is great. I think it's I don't think we get enough recognition for it, but it's become, for so long it was just a blue collar sport in people's minds, but everybody's been watching it forever, and the cross demographic appeal. He's responsible for all of it, and he's tough. You don't want to be on the bad side of him. I remember one time the Denver Nugget guy, the guy that owned the Denver Nuggets, they got in the playoffs somehow, but Raw was scheduled. he blocked Vince from going in the building. They did a 3-hour special on the guy. You'd have thought he was on a crime scene investigation. They just murdered the guy. So he might have got the building that night, but that's all he got.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's not afraid of anybody. I mean, he's tackled it all, and in our business, people take cheap shots, and he just stands there. And I looked at him one time. The greatest line I think I've ever heard about being a man is, with the pressure sometimes that we all encounter in life in different aspects, not to the capacity that he does. But I said, my expression would be selling in our business. Like, how do you not, just got to take a deep breath. I said, how do you keep your game face on? He said, I have to. I got 500 people depend on me every day. I can't change my game face. Short and sweet.
All right, I'm going to take you on a throwback. What was it like to be around Andre the Giant?
Oh, fantastic.
I mean, this guy is mythological.
Yeah. I actually started with Andre. We both started together in '72, and I drove Andre around when he was just Jean Ferrer, and before he was Andre the Giant. He started in Montreal. From Montreal, he came to Minneapolis with Vern Gagne, and so I drove Andre around, and I would take him to Chicago and take him in all the bars in Chicago, and nobody knew who he was, but the chicks all came running.
For Andre.
Can I see your hand? Yeah. I used to use that on the flight attendant's lot too, but got to back off them now. God forbid. The demographics study of flight attendants now is they're my age or older to get a job. What the hell wants to fly with someone my age? Good Lord.
The guy...
I wouldn't have worked well in the 80s with that.
No. The guy that body slammed Andre, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
When he was at his peak, what was it like to feel that energy? Because I feel like that was one of the highest peaks out there.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. When he came down the aisle, it was... I've only seen 3 people get the response coming down the aisle. And I think you guys, if you follow wrestling, would agree. Hulk probably the biggest, and then Stone Cold, when that glass broke, man, and Stone Cold broke at the door, and then Dusty Rhodes. They got to throw the Dream in there. When he came down to old time rock and roll, Bob Seger. Yeah, I'd put those 3 guys in terms of standing in the ring, 20, 30,000 people around you, depending on what the venue was, or if we were outdoors. But yeah, Hulk was just amazing. Yeah, it was too much. And all he had to do, I'd say to him, just let me get you down to a knee. Let me get you to my size, and leave the rest up to me, man. And it was so easy. I mean, when people are so over, if they'll just register for you, that's all you got to do. With Dusty, of course, he was whacking himself everywhere.
Getting blood and all that stuff.
All the time, yeah. It's mandatory.
Speaking of Dusty, it is time for our first clip. And I think to tell the story of Rick, we know that you've held the title 16 times. I'm going to take you back to time number 1. And this is the first time that you won the belt in wrestling.
The pressure, and Rhodes has his head underneath the ropes. Flair has to break the figure 4 leg lock on Dusty Rhodes. The referee, Thez, has trouble prying the legs apart. Flair crawls away from the figure four. He sees Rhodes injured, staggering. Flair going outside the ring, mounting the ropes, crawling up to the top rope. Dusty Rhodes spots him, nails him with a punch to the stomach, and Rhodes grabbing Flair off the top rope for a suplex. But look out, Rhodes, those knees can't hold Flair up, and down goes Rhodes underneath Flair. The count of 3, and Nature Boy Ric Flair has won the World Heavyweight Championship, pinning Rhodes when Rhodes' legs gave out. That knee simply couldn't bear the weight of trying the suplex on Flair from the top rope, and Flair falling across the shoulders of Dusty Rhodes. Flair has the gold belt. He is the new World Heavyweight Champion, and we're back with more in a moment.
So when I watched this, I noticed a few things. The crowd is losing their minds. And the second thing is you looked at the belt for a long time. Your story, if people don't know, is he would have to go around the country and put over local champions.
The world.
Like, what do you mean? The whole world. You're right. I apologize.
No, really.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
But you would go around and you would play the heel and you would put over the local.
Well, I didn't put him over. He had to put me over, or we wrestled an hour. So nobody wanted their hometown guy to lose. So
Right. So you'd go around the country and lose.
wrestle an hour every night.
Damn.
Yeah, I did over 280-hour matches a night for 5 years.
To get that payoff, what was
well,
that?
here's the deal. It's funny. It's interesting you brought that up. That looked like that was really the worst case scenario that I could have possibly won the title. First of all, Dusty and I are very close. He'd only had it for a month, but it wasn't working out in terms of the fact that NWA, when I got that NWA was the most prestigious wrestling organization. I mean, they had the WWF, whatever they had here, but it was just a local promotion or a 5-state area. I mean, look where they are now, right? But as the NWA champion, you went all over the world. Could be in Tokyo one night, New Zealand the next. I mean, not literally the next, but the next day. Anyway, it was it was a fun job if you liked it like I did, but it was a lot of work traveling. You never got to go home. But we were close friends, and instead of having the match in a like Florida where he was a big box office, or anywhere in the Southeast, like where I was primarily, featured too, they had it in Kansas City because the president of the NWA at that time was Bob Geigo, and he wanted to have it. So it was a small building, a Memorial Auditorium. Lou Thez was the referee, and it looked like they were excited, but it was. I was excited. Back then, you couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't even tell my girlfriend at the time. I told my mom and dad. It's one of the few times my parents ever came to see me wrestle, and it was really cool. But boy, the next day, I was headed off to West Palm Beach, and I thought I was ready to be the world champion, and it didn't take me long to figure out I wasn't, because I had been groomed with guys like Wahoo and Blackjack and Ricky Steamboat and Paul, all these really good, talented guys, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of nowhere wrestling guys that don't have nearly the skills that these other people did, and I'm having to make them look good, and for an hour, and so I had it for a year. They took it off me, and then another year, and then when I won it back in '83 was
That's when you were ready for it.
That's when I was ready. I had my shit together, and that's when I really took off. That was a great moment for me, but Dusty was with his wife, and when they're close friends, nobody wants to lose the world title when you win it. I mean, it's like, so it could have been a better if I had won in North Carolina or somewhere in the Carolinas, or he'd lost in Florida, it would have been, better. But who knows? It is what it is, and it's history. But it was not the greatest moment. It looked like it was, but
right.
It was for me to hold this belt and realize that I was right here with the Funks and the Briscoes and Lou Thez and Gene Kiniski and all these fabulous champions ahead of me.
I did a Thuzio event with Tiger's caddy that he had in like '97
Oh, yeah.
when he won the Masters. And he said that he went back to his hotel room and he put on the Masters jacket and he fell asleep in the jacket.
Tiger?
And I'm curious, like, when you win the title, Are you just looking at it? Like, was it that kind of a moment where you'd worked all this time and finally it's in your hands with your name on it?
Well, that night, the front desk manager at the Crown Plaza was with me. She woke up with it on. What do you think? I wasn't married. I was with my mom and dad. I'm not going to go up there and hold the title, but I'm just kidding. Just
Well played.
Joke.
Well played. Well done. That was great.
Oh, they like shiny things, man.
Yeah.
Can I wear that one night? Yes. If you behave.
We'll get to some golden things in a minute. So at Bleacher Report, I mainly do an NFL show, and I keep noticing this combination between the NFL and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
One of the Four Horsemen was on the Chicago Bears, Steve McMichael.
Yep.
You were on a tag team back in the day with Kevin Green.
Yep.
Do you think Gronk could be a wrestler? Because, boy, there was a lot of talk about that. I know his back's messed up. I'm just curious what you think.
Well, his personality certainly could he, but he won't. He wouldn't like the schedule. He wouldn't mind me saying that either. Could he wrestle? Yes. Could he come on the show?
People don't realize how tough
Yeah,
it is.
he wouldn't want the schedule. The kids are still wrestling 4 days a week, and they're driving anywhere up to 300 miles a night after the show. It hasn't changed that much. The fact that they have 3 days a week off is the difference. And the pay scale is a lot different. Don't misunderstand me. And, of course, the notoriety from television.
You weren't just going 7 days a week. You were going twice on
Twice
Sundays.
on Saturday, twice on Sunday.
So you were
Sometimes
going
twice on
9.
Wednesday. An hour every night, too. Sometimes 2 hours a day. Hence, cold Miller Lite. I'll take another, please.
No, but seriously, we'll take another Miller Lite. That'd be great. And Tito's. Shout out to Tito's.
Yeah.
Really quick before I go on, is John Q here? Is John here? Yeah? No? It's his anniversary. And they're celebrating because of you.
Who's that?
John, right in the back.
Hey, John. How you doing, man?
Hell yeah. Let me get a woo for John. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Perfect. How did the Four Horsemen get together? You rode off into the sun. I'm just curious, how did it get aligned?
We were wrestling a lot at that time. Dusty was like the head guy on that side. And there was so much. We were so deep in talent in the business at that point. The WWE had their crew, but we had, the Ricky Morton, Robert Gibb, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, Road Warriors, Dusty, Sting, Luger, Barry, me, Arn. I mean, the business was rich with talent. And one day Arn just held up his fingers and said, "We're the something of excellence." Then he just calls the Four Horsemen, like, the apocalypse. And the next week, everybody in the audience was going like this.
So it was really based off the audience.
Yeah, it was based on Arn said it and went, because it was Tully, myself, Arn, and Ole, and JJ was our manager, and we were doing a lot of those. We were getting ready to start doing the war games, where it was 4 against 4, and then actually 5 because the managers came in, JJ and Paul Ellering. But Arn just said it, and it took off. I mean, to this day, people, wherever I go, like me to do that. People want this whether I'm by myself or with the guys or not. And every time we get together, which will be easier now because Arn's not working for WWE anymore, we have huge turnouts. We just did a show in Manhattan a week ago, Saturday, when Mania was there. We did what's called WrestleCon. Yeah. And we had like 180 photo ops at $200 a piece. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lucrative deal when we can get together.
The Four Horsemen were wild in the ring.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were wild outside the ring.
Yes.
Was there a night that, as I'm saying this, pops into your head right away?
Every night.
Ceiling fans did not survive?
Give me a city.
Philadelphia.
Right here?
Yeah.
The old Marriott. You guys remember the old Marriott? Not the terminal Marriott, but the old one? The real Marriott. I think it's a Hilton now, or they tore it down. Do you remember back in the 80s? Yeah, that was a deal, man. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. No shit. You know, Marriott actually, at one time, the Marriott family, they've changed it all around now where they're just so low maintenance. They went from having these rock and roll bars to Champions. They've all seen the Champions. And now Champions is gone, and they just barely have a bar at all. They've just gone very conservative. But that Marriott out there was phenomenal, man. We went from this. We didn't get to wrestle in the Spectrum back then. We'd wrestle at the Civic Center. Yeah, whatever, right? And 10,000 people. We'd roll over there and, Jesus, party all night long. It was phenomenal. Man. Yeah. That's when it was. That's when girls came out. Now it's a guy's soap opera. You walk into a hotel, there used to be 1,000 girls. I mean, literally, not 1,000, but a couple hundred easy, right? Now you walk in a hotel and it's 500 guys. Jesus.
So,
yeah.
We all know this about Rick. Not just his moves, not just his ability in the ring, his promos were incredible. So for my second clip, I brought my personal favorite promo. It's a snippet. I don't think it's everybody's favorite promo, but this is the one very known as the Golden Spoon.
Flair's a good guy. It's the old adage that you like to hear somebody's doing pretty good, but you don't want to hear they're doing better than you. You see? And the bottom line is, my whole career, I've always done better than anybody else. Only because of one reason. I was born with a golden spoon. I inherited the ability. I inherited the money. I inherited the God-given best looks in the world today.
And now the clothes come
this,
off.
I dress myself in Oprah suede. I dress myself in cashmere. Yeah. I dress myself in $100 pleated slacks. I dress myself in alligator shoes. I wear a $15,000 Rolex. I got Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce, the biggest house on the biggest hill, on the biggest side of town. You know why I got all that? Because I was born with a golden spoon. And that took me to the World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. Starrcade 80.
I got chills. So the last clip when you won the title, that was performance. I labeled this one disruption because I don't think I had ever seen anybody take over a mic like that. I mean, I feel like you changed the game.
Well, I'm glad you do. That's why I'm here tonight. Most people my age are sitting home watching TV, so I don't know.
What's it like to see yourself do that?
Well, it's funny. People have asked me. That's a good question. I never watched myself wrestle. You know, I didn't go home and watch where I'd been. Does that make sense? I was there, so I knew. And I knew about it. I never watched the DVDs and all that stuff. You know, I just had so much fun. I got to be honest with you. Those promos right there, we had been out in Buckhead all night long. Can imagine, right? Oh, you know, Buckhead, 5 a.m. There had to be a TV at 8 o'clock in the morning, and that show started at 9. So just coffee and away you go, and then off to another shot Saturday afternoon, and then 2 on Sunday. So I just, you know, had so much fun. And I mean, I can't even tell you about Buckhead. Jesus
Who
Christ.
comes up with the promos? Is that right off the top?
That's right off the top of my head.
Now, the Golden Spoon, like that one in particular.
Yeah, nobody. All my stuff is original. I never wrote. One of the reasons I had a tough time when I first went to WWE is they wanted me to, you know, to say what they were saying. I couldn't do it. I can't. I understand that, you know, as a business change, that you have to memorize the pay-per-view name, the theme, the date, and which is, you know, when you're rolling, it's hard to come up Philadelphia and then the name. You know, everything's got a theme to it now, right? So I got used to that, but it just, when you get in a roll and you're literally playing off the emotions of the audience, I mean, why stop? You can see when when it's happening, and I just had fun doing it.
A little bit later in the clip, just go look Golden Spoon up on YouTube. You go, and even these idiots, and the crowd just goes nuts, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like you're feeding off it.
Yeah.
How did, when you were doing promos like this, because apparently it was all improvisational, would other wrestlers, when you would go back, would they be like, holy crap, that was amazing? Like, did you feel it impacting other people?
I think the guys appreciate it. I knew that what drove me was Dusty was on the same show, and Dusty could talk his ass off. So I had hoped that I was written down where I was following him. If not, I had to give him something to think about. Does that make sense?
So you guys kind of pushed each other in the promo game.
Well, me and Piper too. So
Really? Oh, he could go.
when I worked with Roddy, I had to think about it too. But those are the only two guys that made me think to what I could say that would be, once you, the thing that's different now is I found my character and I never had to change. I'm the only guy that Vince McMahon has never changed. He didn't change my name, didn't try to package it in a different way. And if you look at the history of our business, everybody now, the problem with the TV is they're repackaging people because there's a scarcity of talent. And a guy can be a phenomenal performer, but if you don't have that niche that entertains you or you guys or your family or your kids or whatever, you can do everything. But if you don't have a niche, it catches their eye, you're gone. I mean, not gone, but that opportunity will come and go in a blink.
Would you put The Rock at your level
Oh, yeah.
of promo?
Most definitely, of course.
Because he had some times with the
unreal.
like,
Yeah. He's not only is he an incredible guy. Look where he's gone. I mean, everybody. Wow. It's just, and he stayed humble and nice. And my wife was here tonight, and he's actually buying a home in Atlanta. My wife and Rock's mom are like really close. So we don't talk to him a lot, but because his schedule, he when he commits to something, he goes full speed.
Right.
And he does movie after movie after movie after movie. He owns a production company now. He's just done so well. But Rock had to live under the scrutiny of having stuff written down for him. Then he would go back and think it out and put it into his words.
And he was so good at
A
it.
guy named Brian Gerwitz, he hired Brian when he left to come with him.
Really?
Yeah, which helped. But I mean, he had an outline, but you can't take an outline and he would make it so entertaining. I mean, he could play the guitar, he could sing and stuff. That's the problem now. That what's old, the fans want again. I mean, and it's not that old. It's just 15 years or 10 years since The Rock was there.
I'm going to take you back now 22 years.
Look at Stone Cold. I mean,
oh, yeah.
1 margarita, 2 beer. I mean, who can make that shit up, right?
That was awesome.
That's the way Steve lives.
1995, you go to North Korea.
Yeah.
And it's the Collision in Korea and 190,000 fans. Like, it's incredible to me that we've sent Dennis Rodman and Ric Flair to North Korea. Like, it really is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But you're in this...
Dennis wants me to go now. I said, hell no. I went with Ali one time, and that's it. God.
When you go there, I mean, what is it like to enter the country? What's it like to be in front of all those people?
It was the most intimidating thing I've ever done in my life. I would never, ever go again.
Because they were all like clapping at the same time?
No. Here's what happened.
I apologize, North Korea.
As they went to, I was their third choice. They asked Foreman, and Foreman said, absolutely not. Then they went to Hulk and said, I can't make that one, brother. Hulk, right? So then they just told me I was going, and at that time I was, thinking about running for governor. So I was actively...
You were thinking about running for governor?
In North Carolina, 91. I thought about it.
You would have been incredible.
Yeah, we decided I might have too many skeletons in the closet. But it's funny, I just saw Ventura last week. I went to see Jesse in Minneapolis for a day, and now I tell you, that's a thankless job. It's just a PR job.
But you're in Korea.
Yeah. And anyway, so... I called Helms and Strom Thurmond both and said, what do you guys think? And they said, don't go. But anyway, it was supposed to be Jimmy Carter, his wife, Ted, Jane Fonda, myself.
Ted as in Ted Turner.
Ted Turner,
Okay.
and Jane, myself, and Muhammad Ali. Well, obviously Jimmy Carter didn't go. Obviously Ted and Jane didn't go. So it ended up being Eric Bischoff, Ali, me, and then a guy named Sonny. I can't think of his last name, one of Eric's friends. But we got off, from the moment I got off the plane, we went on a private jet out of Nagoya. We flew to Nagoya commercial and then out of a private jet, but took our passports, they separated us, took Ollie one place, took me another, and you know, the guy was so wrapped up on my watch, you know, just looking at me going like, not this one either, just a regular Rolex with a few diamonds on it. And the guy was so wrapped up, he said to me, you know, I would have to work my whole life to have something like that. And he said, because when I was there, the average North Korean made $6 American a week. I mean, it's a really strange, intimidating place.
And you were there for how long?
I was supposed to be there 4 days. I was there 7. They wouldn't let us leave. And then Mike Chinoy from CNN wanted me to make this statement publicly that after visiting North Korea, I could see that they could defeat the United States or Japan. They hate the Japanese and they hate us. Why they hate us, I don't know. I guess the Japanese history with the Korean people is, you know, something that none of us will understand. But
so you get back on the plane, and are you with Ali?
I'm with Ali flying
And do you
back,
guys
yeah.
just look at each other like, what just happened?
No, the worst part was we're at Marigold Hall, which is their White House. He and I and all the dignitaries, and not Kim Il-jung and not his son, but the next highest guy. Beautiful, phenomenal. I mean, it is a beautiful countryside. It's beautiful. And the guy starts talking about how much they hate America and how much they hate. He'd talking and someone would translate. There's 50 people at the table. And Ali tapped me on the leg because Ali hadn't said a word. Right? You know, that's his gimmick. He can hear everything, but for a while he just didn't talk. He just did magician tricks, pulling the balloon out of his hand and all that shit, right? So he goes to me, he goes, no wonder we hate these son of bitches. I said, look at Ali, I love you to death, but man, do not start talking now. Now is not the time to revolt. Yeah, we're not going to Vietnam, brother. You don't have to go to Vietnam.
Man.
We're getting out of here. Shut up. No shit. He said, no wonder we hate these son of bitches. He hasn't said a word in two years.
I just, if you needed to know how you get Ric Flair and Muhammad Ali to be quiet,
Yeah. Oh, God.
that's the answer to that.
Yeah, what a fabulous guy. I worked with him 3 or 4 different times in my career, but at that point, if you know the stories, you know, he's like to be an amateur magician and all that. So he must have shown me the same trick 40 times. And all of a sudden, he starts talking at this damn table with me and him. I go, Jesus Christ, please. Listen, let's pretend like we're in New Orleans and I'm not watching on the elevator with 5 chicks going up the roof, okay? Hey, don't think he didn't have a couple, right? Joe Namath had nothing on Ali, man. Good Lord.
That's
the
amazing.
girls like Muhammad.
How can they not? I get it.
God, that's what I say.
All right, so I have one last clip for you.
His religion, you can have as many wives as you want. I was born into the wrong century.
So the first one, you're going to get me in trouble.
No, seriously. He didn't pay an alimony. Nobody does for me.
So the first clip I show was performance. Second clip I show was disruption. I'm about to just change the energy in here completely, and I apologize.
No, I love Ali, but
So, this last clip. Okay, so it's reward. And it's really, this is a very selfish question. I have a clip. It was during your retirement. And it was the first guy that I asked you about, Undertaker. This was the moment during your retirement that I think, I mean, if you were at home, you were emotional after seeing this. while this is going on, they start showing some other wrestlers and they're crying. You're getting it right now. I've always wanted to know how you're going to make me cry. I always want to know what he whispered to you. Man, it was that special.
Oh, he just said, I respect you and what you've done to help make all this possible for all of us.
Yeah. Man.
That's crazy. I don't think my wife's even seen that before.
That clip?
I don't think she has. Yeah. You wonder why we're good friends, right? Who gets that? I've told people, I don't think anybody, I've been to Cooperstown and I've been to Canton and all that, but I don't think anybody's ever had a send off like I did.
It was incredible.
In any sport. And that's not being. That's not being disrespectful. No, it was an incredible weekend. It was an incredibly eventful weekend, and I think that's the first time my daughter, who's like a megastar now, really understood. She she appreciated what I did, but she was so active and playing so many different sports. She never even looked at it or had any idea of doing it, but I think she came away that weekend going, God, now I know what my dad did and why he wasn't here.
It was a parade. It was every single person came in there and shook your hand. But that was the moment where, I see your emotions here. John Cena was crying. Like it was just this paramount moment. I was at home a mess, like a mess. Yeah. And to see you like this right now, like to realize that like my hero could be humbled is wild. And I want to say I thank you and I appreciate you for everything that you did. But to have somebody like Taker to come up there, it had to be the cherry on top of an incredible journey.
Yeah, it was. Well, and then on top of that, after off the air, Vince came out. So it was like, and the next day, and I don't mean this in disrespect to my ex-wife, but the next day we went off on a vacation and I was lost. That's all I had done for 40 years. And I was really like it's over. You know what I mean? I couldn't grasp it. And that's when I really started this, this game. That's when I really started to slide. Personally, it wasn't about the attention or it was just the camaraderie and the guys. And how do you go from hanging out with these guys and walk into, like Del Frisco or whatever, when it's just not the same. Did I have a lot of friends? Yeah, but they're not starting their nights at 11 o'clock until 4 a.m., you know what I mean?
They're not going to turn up the Marriott.
Yeah, they got wives to go home to. I just looked at my wife and thought, God, I'm bored as shit right now. I don't care if we're in St. Croix or not. Literally. We were divorced in 6 months.
Yeah. That's why your wife right now is so special.
Yeah.
Because I see the life in you,
Yeah, well, but she knew me. And Wendy, it's just for me, I just had to grow up, guys. And all that entertainment and all that stuff I did, I believe that. Does that make sense? The reason I was good at it is because I lived that life. There's very few things you'll ever see that I said that I didn't do. Does that make sense? And that's not always, setting the right example or pace for anybody, right? But when you did it, I just loved the business, good or bad, whether I got paid or didn't get paid. I mean, I can give 1,000 reasons why I should be better, but at the end of the day, I'm here with you guys in Philadelphia tonight, and I almost died a year and a half ago, and here I am, enjoying the company of some really wonderful people, and you guys aren't like I'm not down here at the Union, trying to get a raffle ticket for $2. I'm with them. No, I'm with the blue blood, thoroughbred people of Philadelphia tonight. Not who has that. Does that make sense?
Hell yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm having fun, but it's moments like that that ground me. I just, I got who gets all these chances of crashing an airplane? Are you shitting me? Pilot died, 2 people paralyzed, hit by lightning, and then literally a year and a half ago, the guy told me, you have a 20%, he didn't tell me because I was in a coma, and I had a 20% chance to live. And everybody, this is you guys can relate to this or you can plan for the future, everybody thought I was dying. And so people that owed me money went south on me. No, I can laugh about it now, but it wasn't funny at the time. And Wendy, people literally a lot of money, everybody thought I was dying. So people are trying to get my intellectual property. People are trying to get, and they're knocking down Wendy's door. And Wendy had no one to go to but Steve Austin and then Vince, came in, and it just, because it was that close a call. But now, I look back on it, and I'm sharing these moments with you. I don't remember any of it. I didn't have a memory for, a lot of people don't know. I couldn't even remember what happened up at the Christmas. And I was operated on in August 14th. So
You know what they didn't realize?
Huh?
They didn't realize who they were fucking dealing with.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's I'm the luckiest guy alive, but moments like that just I don't know who else gets it. I've been to, like I said, Cooperstown and that, and everybody has that personal moment of emotion, but to be able to know that you've affected people's lives in what I consider to be the most insensitive business. Our business is very insensitive, guys. We don't have unions, and we don't have
Players associations.
We're independent contractors, and it's hard to find friends that are really your friends that'll look at you and say, "Hey, God, that's great," and then not talk about you driving on the road that night. So I just was lucky to make a lot of friends, and I those moments will mean more to me all the time. And now I've got a partner that just it's, who would imagine it all these years later, and on top of that, she's got a Black American Express. Yeah, 2 homes and a condo.
I just want to say,
I just rent the basement.
thank you for sharing your stories and your emotion with us. I know that everyone in this room feels special to just have shared the room with you.
Thank you.
So can I get a round of applause for Ric Flair, please?
Thank you. You don't want to ask some more questions?
Well, I want them to ask questions.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So I want to turn it over. We're going to do a few Q&A. There are microphones in the back. There's some on the sides. I will try and get to whoever I can. So if you want to raise your hand.
Adam, just to jump in real quick, Adam, we just want to remind everyone that parking, if you need to validate, you can do it up front for Sonesta and the Standard. Also, Ronald McDonald House, the table over here to the left, folks, it's a foursome at Commonwealth, a Mike Schmidt signed baseball, Zach Ertz football, Malcolm Jenkins football. Right now, the top bid is $550. We're going to call that in about a half hour, so please make sure you stop over. Also, our next Thuzio event will be with Fletcher Cox, May 7th, and JT Real Muto after that. Also, just a brief round of applause for our host tonight. Thank you to the Pyramid Club, Rick, Lindsay. Thank you so much. And I'll kick it over to John for a question.
All right, we got one right in the front here.
Rick, you've obviously accomplished everything in wrestling, and you talked about it on the 30 for 30, but watching your daughter now compared to watching her accomplishments versus your own and experiencing it, can you comment on that?
Well, I say it openly, and to me, she's exceeded everything that I've ever accomplished on a grander stage. I mean, I never main event at WrestleMania. I was a co-main event one time, but and a lot of that's because I was with a different company. Not that I wouldn't if I'd been there, but to be in the business 6 years and to be where she's at, once again, these are the things that I've got to be careful because people are going to always, the way our society works today, or social media. But I think she's the best athlete in the company, male or female. And anybody that's seen her, I think, would agree. And she's an incredible human being. Having my last name was not a blessing in the beginning. It's, oh God, Ric Flair, special treatment, and that isn't the case. So I couldn't be prouder. She is in a special place, and she'll be there, and she's in a very nice relationship, not only with the wrestling, but she wants to work with Michelle Wilson, who's the head of, literally runs the company in terms of marketing, and she wants to be like an ambassador, eventually, and she will be. She's got, they're training her for it right now. That's one of the problems with her. When she's not wrestling, they have her on the road, doing stuff that Stephanie would have been doing a year ago. But Stephanie's backing out to enjoy her family. So, I couldn't be prouder of her. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, we got
and
another.
She's a much better athlete than I ever was.
We got another question in the back with the microphone back there,
Yep.
Rick.
So, Rick, if you could just talk about a time maybe where Vince came to you with a storyline idea and you thought there is no way that this will work. This won't go over with the crowd. Everyone's going to hate it. Is there ever a time, because you talked about, he's a genius, but did he ever come to you and you said, like, there's no way this storyline will work?
No, I never had that. I never had that conversation with him. Everything they ever gave me was great. The only thing that he and I ever had an argument was, they got to a point, is that what do you do with Ric Flair, right? And the answer was, he was right. And the answer was to retire me. Because I'd been there, I retired. My match with Shawn when I was 59. And that,
Took a little sweet chin music.
yeah, but I was 59 in that event with the Taker. So, he just got into the time. He knew I loved it and all that. And, he's, when I've misbehaved, he's been the guy to pull me aside and say, look, hey, you can either go down in the history of the business as this, or you can go down like this. And he's always been, there to, and not shy at all about telling me what's up. And so we had a big argument one time. He put me in a mixed tag. He didn't, but with where it was me and a girl against another. And so I went out there. I was so damn mad. I took every bump like she was a guy. I let the girl bounce me around like she was Big Show. Until they came back to the curtain. They go, what are you doing? I said, you put me in a match like that, I'm gonna feature them. It's, I'm with the she movement. What do you call it now? The he, she, whatever it is. Equal. So, but they got mad. They couldn't win with me, right? So he used to tell me one time, another time, you'll like this. I came through Grillo and I'd cut like a promo like that. And he goes, 80s heels don't draw. They go, well, okay, what do you want me to say? I mean, hello. Meanwhile, we're using it all now, 25 years later, right? So I don't know. We've had arguments. He told me one time to go look at my match and then come talk to him afterwards because I took this slam off the top. He said, "Who taught you that?" I said, "Harley Race." He said, "Okay."
And he was fine with it right like that.
No, he just, I gave him an answer. He didn't think about it. He just ran out of what he just said. Look, but we just need to put this to rest. You need to go home, son. But I just got lost. I'm the first to admit it. That's when I had a 5-year really where I was down. But you know.
But a hell of a ride, man.
Yeah, I'm back, man. I'm back, and I feel better. And Jesus, I mean, it's like God just gave me another shot at the title, right? So
Hey,
here I am.
it's
Really.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Give it up, Ric
Yeah.
Flair.
But I never disagreed with him, you know. It's an argument you can't win anyway, so.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Rick, our time is up.
Okay?
Yeah.
How come? No.
I know. I'm being told by the big boss, the Vince McMahon of Thuzio, telling me we got to wrap it up.
All right.
All right.
But go do a couple more. I don't mind.
I got one more. Please, one more right
Yeah,
here.
I'm
Okay.
fine. I'm good.
Rick, you've been wrestling for so long. Over here. My hands are raised. It's okay.
We can't say anything.
Over here,
see anything.
Rick.
Oh, over there.
Woo! All right,
Okay, I got you.
You've been wrestling for so long. There's so many moves that have evolved over the last 20, 30 years. You covered so many eras. There's only so many ways you could take a DDT or a pile driver without like actually wincing in pain, or a steel chair to the head or something. What's a move that you had to deal with that actually was difficult to entertain people with, in quotes, without actually being like, wow, that was incredibly painful?
A move I had to take?
Or just like what's a standard wrestling move that actually really, really, really hurts that you wish you didn't have to take in
Other than a
chest?
slap.
Yeah, the chest slaps like that. Like, tell me that didn't hurt.
You know, believe it or not, the move that I found the most difficult, and it's used sometimes. It's not that the move is not good, but the people that are doing it have to be good at it. The German suplex, which is like Kurt Angle's deal, and a few other, that Chad Gable uses it now, and those guys, you know, they're going to put you right. It's a fine line between the top of your shoulders and the top of your head. You know, it's really easy with a guy like Kurt, who's incredibly strong, to what we call over-rotate, where you land on your head and then your neck and everything else. It's a very difficult. Now some of the guys are good enough where they can actually stick you. Like Andrade, the new kid is like phenomenal. But that to me was to take a DDT correctly, like Jake used to give, and Arn, I think Arn gave even a better one than Jake. To take a DDT on top of your head, well, on top of the head, it can hurt you if the guy doesn't duck in, and then flip over. And anybody can take a DDT where you land on your face, and you know, and your body lands frontwards. But to go straight in. Those are two very difficult moves.
I don't think anybody can take a DDT. Just like, I'm not trying to take a DDT right now.
Well, when you're sweating, you don't think about it. Just go, what the hell? It's gonna hurt. What the hell?
All right, one more time for Rick and Adam, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Folks, the bar is going to stay up until 8:30. Please remember parking.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to have been here tonight. No, thank you guys. Thank you for all the respect, and thank Thuzio and everybody that had me. Thank you guys.